back here in WICR at the BS Report. John Stanko, Kevin Bartnett. Turning our attention away from baseball, we're going to move right into football. And I mentioned that Week 9 was a super busy week with a bunch of really good games and surprising victories for teams. But you got to start with the headline that's really kind of stealing the spotlight from all the gameplay. Is the situation in Miami with Incognito and the excessive, basically, bullying that is happening in the Dolphins locker room.
Did you hear the voicemail?
I heard Adam Schefter's reading of it on Monday Night Countdown, in which every other word was bleep, 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 bleep.
It was horrible what he did say. Antro Roll apparently said that half of it was Martin's fault, but I could see where his point's coming from, but I don't really like talking about stuff like that. But the Incognito, Richie Incognito, who's apparently has allowed the most sacks in the NFL this season, so he's not even that good to begin with. So, and what he said to Martin, I agree with what a lot of people said. You know what, Miami's got to release him. He's probably never going to find a job again, because if he says that, we're in a league where 72%, I believe is the number, are players are African American. You're gonna have trouble finding a job again. I mean, Riley Cooper has been forgiven, and he's just played well on the field.
He's been forgiven by Nick Foles, that's for sure.
Yeah, Riley Cooper, I mean, he had the one slip up, but this was way worse than Riley Cooper.
Yeah. Now, the question is that Adam Schefter explained last night on Monday Night Countdown that it would actually save Miami money if they kept him on the roster for the rest of the year, just didn't play him. Then to cut him now, they would have to pay the rest for salary. It would cost them more money to cut him than to keep him on the roster.
They're probably going to do that, yeah.
But I don't think he plays another snap this season.
I don't think so. I think his career is done.
I could definitely see that as well.
I think he should, honestly. I don't think he'll get a job in the NFL ever again, either.
No. I mean, what he said is hurtful. You never threaten a man's family. And with their comments to Antro Roll, sure, some of the blame goes on Martin. He says that he should be a man, stuck up for it, and not taking it.
Antro Roll didn't fully say Incognito. Antro Roll did not let Incognito.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Just to be clear.
He didn't at all. But he said Martin needs to share some of the blame, not all of it. But, I mean, which you could see the point of. I mean, you never want to say the person being bullied, I guess you could say, should have done something, because obviously he's in a situation where none of us would want to be in ever. But a rookie is going to get, it's part of the NFL, he's going to be treated differently. You're going to be asked to pay bills. You're going to be asked to carry pads and stuff like that. But what Incognito did took it to a whole nother level. And you mentioned the fact he's not even that good, so he doesn't even have a right to do so.
The thing was also, Martin apparently was a projected top 10 pick, then he fell off a little bit. He struggled a little bit this year. But the thing with Martin's not even a rookie. Martin's a second-year player. This is his second year, so he's not even a rookie anymore. The fact that Incognito was still doing this...
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, and Bart Scott's comments really bugged me actually a lot, too, because...
Oh, I didn't hear those.
Bart Scott said Richie Incognito should be banned from the NFL. Quite frankly, that bothers me a lot, because Bart Scott is a ringleader in hazing himself, and we also have firsthand Hard Knocks when he was with the Jets. Yeah. He tied a player to a field goal post upside down and powdered him. Dumped Gatorade on him. So Bart Scott shouldn't really be talking when he's hazed. That's really the reason why he didn't get a job after he got cut from the Jets. That's stuff, because Bart Scott wasn't Mr. Character himself, so...
That's a very good point. I did not hear those comments.
So, and that really bothered me, honestly, because when you say that's a very hypocritical statement, honestly. I'm sure, Antro Roll maybe is a hazer, but Antro Roll, I don't think he said anything too terribly wrong. All he said was he did not let it. He ripped it Incognito.
Yes, he did.
But he also said the rookie should have said something. So, I mean, but Bart Scott's comments really got to me big time.
Yeah,
they really bothered me.
The whole situation is really
he was always a big loudmouth. He wasn't even that good. Even when he was in Baltimore, I mean, he's another guy. Bart Scott wasn't even good because he played next to Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs.
Yeah,
makes your job 10 times easier right there. And then he gets David Harris, is a very good middle linebacker for the New York Jets. So those three guys made his job. Made his job.
The only thing easier. Bart Scott will be ever famous for is "can't wait."
Yeah,
that's the only thing I'll remember Bart Scott for.
Yep.
And dare I say it, that's actually a really good catchphrase, even though it was against the Jets and referred to the Patriots. But that's, again, the whole situation is really, really messy, and it's taken away from storylines in the NFL. Let's dive into Week 9 for a second before we get to our mid-season awards. One of the highlights I took from this game, or from this week, was the Seattle having to come back from 21 points down against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Seattle Seahawks dropped in my power rankings because if you cannot handle Tampa Bay at home, you've got problems.
You also have them at number 9, which, if I'm going to be very honest enough for you, is completely asinine, honestly. At number 9, you have the San Francisco 49ers at number 3, who Seattle, if I'm correct, absolutely whooped.
As of right
whooped them.
As of right now.
Whooped them.
As of right
and you
now.
don't have Kansas City at number 1?
Heck no, I don't have Kansas City at number 1. We'll get into this after the Seattle thing.
You have Indianapolis at number and San Francisco
yes,
ahead of them?
I do. You want to know why? Because Kansas City.
That's blasphemous.
They are ranked 29th in the NFL passing, Kansas City. They could not score an offensive touchdown against the Buffalo Bills. They only won because it was a third-string quarterback, rookie quarterback, starting against their defense.
They are finding ways to win, though.
If the Bills started their regular starters, they would have beaten Kansas City by at least a touchdown.
Oh, really? You could say, okay, you have the Colts, though. If I'm correct, didn't the Colts need to come back against Houston, who's a terrible...
Houston's a better team than Tampa Bay.
Who's a terrible football team right now.
Houston's better than Tampa Bay.
They are better than Tampa Bay, but... I thought we were talking about the Chiefs, absolutely, for a second. But you're really trying to tell me right now that, though...
Okay, let me ask you this. Who wins, Denver or Kansas City?
Oh, Denver, I think, beats Kansas City.
Denver, Kansas. Who wins, New Orleans, Kansas City?
I think, with the way New Orleans played this past week, the Kansas City Chiefs have a much better defense than the New York Jets. And I'll tell you right now, your Jets defense...
Right now, though, the Jets also have a better offense than Kansas City.
No, they don't. Absolutely not.
Kansas City, they're in 29th in the NFL passing. They only average 200 yards passing.
Because they have one of the best running backs in football.
If they get behind in a game, they're not going to win the game.
But they're ahead in every game, honestly. I mean, okay, first of all, you would rather take Geno Smith than Alex Smith right now at quarterback?
No. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that right now, New York, it scares me more offensively than the Kansas City Chiefs do. Because if you stop Jamal Charles, you stop the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
But Jamal Charles has been... I mean, Jamal Charles is my fan. He's your fantasy running back. So
I'm not denying that Jamal Charles...
He didn't do anything this week, really.
That's because they're playing the Bills. And you want to know what happens when he doesn't do anything? They don't score an offensive touchdown. That's what happens. Their offense did nothing for them against the Bills.
So you would say you're really more scared of Chris Ivory and Bilal Powell than Jamal Charles. You're more...
No. I'm not saying that at all.
You're more scared of Stephen Hill, Dwayne Bowe.
An overall thing right now. New York, you can't say... New Orleans is a much improved defense this year. Rob Ryan does a great job there, and the Jets are able to score.
The Jets got 4 field goals.
It doesn't matter. They still scored more points than Kansas City.
They won on 4 field goals, the Jets. The Jets can't score either.
And they scored a touchdown at least.
Kansas City is a better team than New Orleans right now. And if you want to rip into Seattle so much, if I'm correct, didn't New Orleans beat Tampa on a last-second field goal this year, 16-14?
It doesn't matter. You're at CenturyLink Field. You're at home.
It doesn't matter. You're just saying it took them to come back. New Orleans won on a last-second field goal.
Seattle is struggling right now. They're losing both their tackles. They can't stop the run. They can't protect Russell Wilson.
They lost both their tackles. Exactly.
That's why right now they're ranked number 9.
Tackles.
That's why right now they're ranked number 9. This is not what they'll be at the end of the year. This is what they are right now. And right now they're not playing well.
You would want to go into Seattle and play them.
Oh God, no! I wouldn't want to go into Seattle and play them.
Exactly.
But it's right now. Right now, there are teams that are better than they are.
The only 2 teams I think that are better than they are right now are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Only 2 teams right now that are better than the Seattle Seahawks. They've had a bad last 2 weeks, but New Orleans Saints have had bad games against Tampa Bay too. So I saw you have Cincinnati. Cincinnati higher than Seattle. Are you kidding me? Cincinnati just lost to a team who lost 4-0, who was on a 4-game losing streak, and lost on a safety. And you have Chicago ahead.
Miami also started.
You have Chicago ahead of them?
Chicago had a great win against Green Bay.
Who lost Aaron Rodgers?
It's still
They lost Aaron Rodgers.
It's still a good win with a backup quarterback.
They lost Aaron Rodgers
in Green Bay.
And you want? Oh, really? In Green Bay, also with the injuries that they have too.
It's still a good win with a backup quarterback.
Most injured team in the NFL right now, and you have Chicago ahead of them.
Right now, yes, Chicago's a better team.
Chicago's not a better team than Seattle right now, though. You have Seattle at number 9.
Right now, Chicago, they played better than Seattle did last week.
Seattle, oh my God. I can't right now.
We are just disagreeing today.
No. Okay, first off, did they have a bad game against Tampa Bay? Absolutely, okay? Absolutely, they had.
It's a Christian school. It's a Christian school.
No, I was gonna say freaking, not you know what, but no, but okay. They had a bad game, and did they play well against St. Louis? No, they did not.
No, they did not. So they're 2 bad teams.
St. Louis though has probably the best pass rushing defense in the National Football League.
You really want to say freaking?
Yes, I do. In the National Football League. They do. Robert Quinn is a stud. Chris Long is a stud. Michael Brockers is one of the best defensive tackles no one knows about. And when they're missing both their offensive tackles, they're going to eat you up, especially Russell Wilson, who's 5'10" and likes to run, okay? That's why they had a bad game there. Russell Wilson had no time to throw because he doesn't have the tackles. Tampa Bay, people forget that Tampa Bay is actually a very talented football team. They're just not well coached at all. Greg Schiano is going to be fired very soon. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired yet.
I'm surprised he hasn't been fired yet.
He should be fired by now. Okay. But, yes, they were at home. Yes, they are entitled to a bad game. But, you know what? Tampa Bay played very well, actually. Mike James had a great game. Mike Glennon had a good game.
Mike James had a throwing touchdown.
He played good, Mike James. Okay? I'm giving some credit to Tampa because they did play very well, actually. But in the end, Seattle still came back down 21 and managed to win. It doesn't matter how bad the team is, they came back to win. Your New England Patriots had a rough week against Miami last week, and they came back to win. They were down, 17-0 at one point? Mm-hmm. And they came back to win. And they were at home. Why aren't you killing
I dropped New England in my power rankings after that win. I said they deserved to lose that game. I dropped them respectively. I did so.
You didn't drop them to number 9. You didn't drop them to number 9
because they weren't up that high anyway.
Number 9 though. I mean, you had Seattle at number 3 last week.
Yeah.
And you dropped them in 6 spots.
Let's see what I had them at last week. Actually, no, I had them at 6 last week, so I only dropped them 3 spots.
Okay,
so it's not even that drastic.
I know I can get this out of you.
It's not even that drastic.
Okay, because the New York Giants, who haven't allowed a defensive touchdown in their last 2 games, who have not allowed defense, could they beat Seattle?
Right now? No.
Exactly.
Because the Giants are terrible.
I knew I could get it out of you. I knew I could get it out of you.
The Giants are terrible. The Giants are terrible.
Hey, they haven't allowed defensive touchdown in 2 games.
And Seattle has a problem stopping the run, and Giants can't run. So that's obviously I'm going to pick Seattle.
Hey, they don't play for a while though. So. Hey, the Giants. Speaking of which, they're playing the New Oakland Raiders, and Terrell Pryor apparently may not play, and then they get Green Bay in 2 weeks, and with Aaron Rodgers will be out.
Are you saying that the Giants still have a chance? Is that what you're saying to me right now?
They haven't allowed
Is that what you're saying to me right now?
They haven't allowed defensive touchdown in 2 weeks, yeah.
On the BS report that the New York Giants are still alive?
They are. They're only 2 games out, so 2.5. Wait, 2. Yeah. I mean, it was a major punch to the Giants when all 3 NFC teams decided to actually win this week.
Yes.
But if you really want my opinion, who the best team in the NFC is right now, the way if I'm going on your logic, it's the Washington Redskins.
Right now?
By your logic, yes.
How is it by my logic?
Because you're going by right now, I guess. You're talking about right now.
That's what the power rankings are. You rate them every week by how well they're playing.
Did you drop the Dallas Cowboys?
Did I drop the Dallas Cowboys?
Who needed a last-second win over the Minnesota Vikings?
Let's see if I dropped it. Yes, I did drop the Dallas Cowboys.
By how much?
1 spot.
1 spot. Okay, not 6.
They were 12-11. That's because they're playing Minnesota.
They went 12-11, so you
No. Excuse me. They went 12-13. 12-13.
Okay.
12-13.
They were playing Minnesota, who's a terrible football team, who's 1-7 now, if I'm correct.
Yes. I'm sorry. Seattle has really put me off the past 2 weeks with their performances. They couldn't handle St. Louis the first week that Kellen Clemens is starting, and St. Louis had no running game to speak of.
They couldn't handle. They didn't allow a touchdown in that game.
If Kellen Clemens could throw the ball, St. Louis would have won that game.
If Sam Bradford was playing, they would have won that game.
Exactly.
If Sam Bradford was playing, I will agree with that, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But, Seattle also, you're killing them too much when you don't realize offensive tackle, I don't think you realize offensive tackle is a big position.
I know it is. That's why they're
not best in Russell Okung.
That's why they're not going to be better until they get them back.
But right now, though, still, they're a good football team right now. They're a better football team.
I'm not denying, are they going to rise up before the end of the year? Yes. Are they going to be Super Bowl contender by the end of the year? Yes. But as of right now, they are incredibly vulnerable.
They are right now. The way they've been playing these past 2 weeks, absolutely, they are vulnerable. I won't say that. But I'm not ready to say that teams like the teams that they've whooped, like the San Francisco 49ers, are better teams than them. I'm not.
I think right now, San Francisco, they figured out that they need to just hand the ball off to Frank Gore every time, not rely on Colin Kaepernick like they did the first time that they played. Because Colin Kaepernick was all on his shoulders at the start of that game for that game plan.
I have to start Anquan Bolden this week, I thought. So, I mean, it's coming down because I'm starting because Josh Gordon and Jamal Charles are on buys for me this week.
Yeah, struggle with Jamal Charles on a buy.
So but I have Zach Stacy and Giovanni. I have Zach Stacy and Giovanni Bernard. Zach Stacy, hidden gem, by the way.
Yes, he's playing very well.
St. Louis has found their running back. But yeah, I have Zach. They're definitely starting for me, and then I'll have Antonio Brown and Marvin Jones start at receiver, and then the flex I have either Ryan Matthews or Anquan Bolden. I'm only 2 options.
That's a struggle.
I'm thinking about going Bolden.
I'd probably go Bolden in that spot too. I probably would.
Can I talk about one team, by the way, that is not getting a lot of love around the NFL, but is playing very well? The Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
They are a surprise team right now. Great defense.
Cam Newton is also playing out of his mind.
He's great. He's been great. And people don't like to give him credit because of the way he acted last year and the way they were losing games. But he's matured a lot this year with his attitude. They're playing very well. They're playing great football right now.
Yeah.
And Luke Kuechly is one of the top 5 defenders in the NFL.
Boston College.
He's one of the top 5 defenders in the NFL. Even though he got beat on a touchdown this past week by Tony Gonzalez. But there's no shame.
That's Tony Gonzalez.
There's no shame in getting beat by Tony Gonzalez.
That's Tony Gonzalez. What are you gonna do?
But Ron Rivera has saved his job.
Yes, he saved his job. I said, I tweeted out on Sunday, I was like, what I took away from this week, watch out, Carolina can make the playoffs.
I think they will make the playoffs.
They can make a run. If you look at now, their next games, though.
And they took a guy from the Giants to be their GM. So.
Didn't Ballard get signed by someone, too? If I saw he got signed by Arizona, I believe, the Arizona Cardinals.
I like Jake Ballard, so we always have an emotional connection to him. And us Giant fans also felt bad when he tried to go back in the game and he ended up tearing his ACL on the sideline. The Arizona Cardinals did sign Jake Ballard.
Yeah. Now, the thing is with Carolina is that their next 2 games are going to be a ruthless test. They go at San Francisco, and then they host New England. There's going to be 2 tests for Carolina, who had an early bye. So there's no byes now for them to prepare for the rest of the season. They had a bye week 4. So they have New England, San Francisco the next 2 weeks. And they got Miami, Tampa Bay. They should win those games. Then you go at New Orleans versus the Jets, and then the Saints again. So they have a tough schedule for the end of the year.
We'll see what Cam Newton's made of.
We'll see. Yes, this is going to be if they go 10-6. Actually, this is a great season, and they can make the playoffs because you got to be worried.
Right now, do you buy the New York Jets making the playoffs?
Oh my God, I hate to say this, but yes, they can make the playoffs. I'm whispering it because I don't even want them to.
I think they're very inconsistent. However, I will say if they do make the playoffs, watch out for them.
Yes.
I don't buy their offense enough though.
They're literally.
Geno Smith did not play good last week. They won, yes, but Geno Smith did not have a good game.
I mean, he didn't play great by any means, but I don't think he played poorly.
I don't think he played. I think he played more bad than good. He had a nice rushing touchdown, and made a nice move, but
the thing is that they went through a really part of the schedule. They went to New England, Cincinnati, New Orleans, and they won 2 out of the 3.
Beating New Orleans and
New England is really big. Now,
could have easily went 0-3.
Both those games were at home, but look at the rest of the way for the Jets. They got a bye week this week. Then they go to Buffalo, Ralph Wilson Stadium. That's not a cupcake game. Let me just say that right now.
EJ Manuel's back.
EJ Manuel will be back, so that's not a cupcake game. But they can win it, and frankly they should win it because they're a better team than the Bills. Then you got at Baltimore. Baltimore is not a good team. They're not going to make the playoffs,
but they can beat the Jets.
But they can beat the Jets again. They can lose that game. Then they go to Miami, or they host Miami, the Jets to win. Then they host Oakland, the Jets to win.
See, Miami always steps their game up against the Jets.
Well, yeah, Miami steps their game up against division opponents, yes.
It's not. They haven't beat the Patriots in about 4 years, it seems like. But
then they got Carolina, Cleveland, Miami to end the schedule. The Jets have a winnable.
Cleveland not a cupcake game either.
No, but the Jets do have winnable games the rest of the way. There's no games you look at saying they're going to lose that game.
I mean, but when you beat New Orleans, you can't say they're going to lose these games anymore. So.
Exactly.
And Jason Campbell, by the way, speaking of the Browns as well, Jason Campbell's playing great.
He's playing great.
Rob Chudzinski, it seems like Brandon Whedon's just not NFL. Rob Chudzinski, what he's been doing though, like he first had Brian Hoyer and now Jason Campbell.
Yeah. Bye Brandon Whedon. Your NFL's career is over.
When they took him in the first round, I couldn't believe that.
Baffled by that decision.
In 1 year, he was going to be 30.
Yeah.
He was going to be 30 in his second year, which he is now. So
it's absolutely crazy. His career is done.
They traded Trent Richardson. That means the Browns must be a firm believer in Chudzinski, Rob Chudzinski. If they traded away a guy they just took third overall.
Yep. I believe it. Let's take a short commercial break. After the break, we'll do our midseason awards. We'll do MVP, Defense Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year. Then we'll do biggest snubs, biggest surprises of the year. You want to do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's
do it.
We'll do that. It's the BS Report here on WYCR. John Stanko, Kevin Barnett. We'll be back right after this short commercial break.